A Look at Finance is underwritten by Janney Montgomery Scott, trusted advisors for generations.
Welcome back. Joining me now is Janney Montgomery Scott's first Vice President, Steve Carlton, for our weekly look at finance. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Paula, it's great to see you.
Sue, how is the market doing today?
We had great news, really exciting news. You know, everybody says it seems like just yesterday the markets were at new highs. Well, guess what today? New stock highs. The market did close it again, another high, and you know, I think overall trading is fairly light, but the market keeps going up and up and up.
But the food prices, that's a different story.
Well, the food prices is, you know, it's one of those things that is a lot of people are talking about right now on for a number of reasons. We see it in the grocery store. We see pork prices, steak, bacon, right across the board, all these food prices going up. And it's a result of a number of things. Some people say it's inflation. Some people say it's the environment, you know, with the droughts going on right now in certain parts of the country that are responsible for a large part of the production of our food. And so there's a tremendous amount of pressure on food prices, which puts pressure on the economy.
And so what do? We need food. We need to eat. So what's the alternative there for us?
You know, it's going to become more and more of a local story, I think, Paula. I think that, you know, there's two great food markets locally. And there is a co-op here, and we've talked about it. You know, the local chapters that do the farmers in the community, that grow the fresh produce and everything else. And so there's two farmers markets in this town, just as an example. And I think more and more people are going to look to their local communities for fresh produce, for their meats and vegetables and those kinds of things. If we are able to grow a lot of our stuff locally, organically, it can take some of the pressure off some of these other states that are not having enough water. The produce may be not as robust as it was in previous years. But I don't think there's going to be one silver bullet that will solve this.
And people used to think that fresh produce is usually more expensive, but now it's probably going to balance it off.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. The farmer's market produce is definitely more fresh. It's coming right off the field, and it's, you know, it's local. And typically you paid a premium for that. But I think the fact that food prices have gone up across the board, I think the competitive disadvantage that maybe the local smaller farmers had is negated by the drought and some of the problems that, you know, we're seeing in the food basket in parts of the states that the drought's happening. So I think there's more parity there, and there's not as much of a price shock as people saying, well, if I go to the farmer's market, I'm going to spend maybe 20% more than the grocery store.
Okay, and how about the unemployment?
You know, the unemployment number is something we've talked a lot about the last year, and it's been something we've been watching since 2009. It went way high, and it's gradually been working itself down. And we got to that 350,000 number where there's 350,000 people getting laid off. And I said, if it broke that and stayed below that, this would be a trend that I think would continue. And we've seen that. And today's number was really, really encouraging. We had 300,000 claims, initial claims. And what that means is that's the best number we've got since back in May of 2007. Oh, wow. So that typically means companies are not laying off as many people. So if you just think about that for a minute, companies, if they're not laying off as many people, we could be in a situation where, not too distant future, where these same companies may look at having to hire more people.
Okay, and how about real estate?
Real estate is we were talking about this. This is, we were having a conversation about a fundraising project with all the local builders in the area. And there's this great community of homes that you go to see at the end of the summer. And people have been talking the last week and saying, you know, our price is going to go higher. What do they look like? And it depends on what part of the country you're in. But the real estate numbers that came out today were down. They're down 9.8% from last year. And so if you're a seller, that's not very good news. But if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're somebody that maybe bought a starter home a few years ago and you're looking to upgrade, now might be a really, really good time to go back into the market, because you know what's going to happen. If there are more homes for sale than there are buyers,
less competition.
Less competition.
There you go.
So I think this is really good. And attach the low interest rates, where we're seeing the Treasury rates go down, which affect mortgage rates. We're seeing mortgage rates that were looking like they're going to go 5+% higher. Now they're drifting back down again. And as they drift back down, this, I think, will encourage real estate sales. So that'll be good for us.
All right, well, it's all good news.
Yeah, there is a lot of good news. And I think, you know, like I've been saying the last little while, is the market's light. There's not a lot of trading volume because this is the time of year a lot of traders go away. But I think there's some good encouraging signs. The big thing is the negative GDP numbers we got today, where they revised down 1%. That's somewhat of a cautionary note. And I think what we really need to see is we need to see the second quarter gross domestic product, which represents manufacturing, services, all those things that are the sales in the U.S. We need to see that print a positive number. And so that's going to be really, really important to look at over the next few weeks. If we get a positive number and it improves, then, you know, keep your fingers crossed. We could be going into a really nice summer.
All right, we'll do that.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Paula.
you so much
Pleasure.
for joining us. Thank you. And to see this interview again, just head to our website, looktvonline.com.